Hey, what's up Guardians, TBL here, bringing you some more Destiny videos on the PlayStation 4. Now in this video, we are going to be bringing you an analysis of one of this game's best weapons in my opinion, Thorn, the Exotic Handcannon. Now Thorn is of course an exotic weapon that can be obtained from the Vanguard Mentor missive, A Light in the Dark. We actually have an entire video up showing you exactly how to get this weapon and the bounty that goes along with it. So feel free to check that out if you haven't already and would like to know exactly how you can get your hands on this handcannon. Now originally, Thorn was considered to be a very bad weapon, especially when compared to several of the game's other legendary and exotic weapons. But several weeks ago, many of the game's exotic weapons received a patch that altered their performance. In Thorn's case, the weapon got a reload speed, magazine size, and inventory size increase, as well as an increase to stability and better weapon handling. In the first tier of perk upgrades for Thorn, we have Accurized Ballistics and Field Choke, both of which grant more range and impact, but also add to the weapon's recoil. And finally, we have Aggressive Ballistics, which grants additional impact, no real noticeable decrease to range, and a sizable increase in the weapon's stability. In my opinion, this is easily the best first tier perk pick for Thorn. The bonus to stability will help you realign your sights after taking a shot, and having more range on a weapon with an impact rating as high as Thorn's is always a good thing. Again, making Aggressive Ballistics an easy first choice. Now the next perk on Thorn's tree is the Final Round ability. With this ability, the last round in a magazine will deal a total of 33% more damage, which is a significant increase to the damage that you're putting out. Against a level 30 Major Hive Knight, Thorn deals a total of 706 damage for precision headshot. That damage gets increased to 941 with the Final Round ability, which is a pretty significant increase considering that's not taking into account the damage dealt by the Mark of the Devour or DOT ability. Up next, we have the second customizable branch of upgrades for Thorn. The first on this list is Snapshot, which is sort of like Quick Draw from the old Call of Duty games. It simply allows you to raise your sights faster, which in my opinion is only really helpful in PvP. While the next two upgrades are Send It and Perfect Balance. Send It greatly increases the range and accuracy of the weapon, while Perfect Balance greatly increases Thorn's stability. Both of these weapon abilities are fantastic. Thorn does have quite a bit of recoil, so the extra stability might be worth it for you. But personally, I believe Send It to be the superior option. In my experience, Thorn's recoil is fairly manageable, and the increased damage over range that you get with Send It has overall served me a little bit better in the PvE and PvP landscape. Generally, the weapon's high impact, great range, and bonus damage from abilities like Final Round and the Mark of the Devourer damage over time effect will make the slight increase in recoil more than worth it. Again, that's just my opinion though. Now last up, we have Thorn's signature ability, the Mark of the Devourer, where rounds fired from this weapon will pierce targets and cause lingering damage over time. This ability is Thorn's bread and butter. Without this ability, Thorn is a decent handcannon with good impact and an alright magazine size. But with the Mark of the Devourer damage over time effect, this gun becomes a destroyer of everything PvP and PvE. The Mark of the Devourer ability starts its effect once you shoot an enemy and then deals about 5 seconds worth of continuous damage to that enemy. Now this effect does not stack, but it's easy enough to time your shot so that you can restart the Mark of the Devourer ability immediately after the first one wears off. When fully maxed out, the Mark of the Devourer ability deals about 98 damage per tick against level 30 enemies, which means that generally when it comes to lower level enemies like Dregs, you can shoot them once and just walk away. The initial impact damage from Thorn will leave most lower class enemies at a point where the DOT effect will simply wipe up the remainder of their health. In my testing, the Mark of the Devourer ability dealt about 82 damage per tick against level 30 major enemies, which is definitely a respectable amount for a dot effect. And now another great use for Thorn's Mark of the Devourer ability is keeping constant pressure on enemies who have the ability to regen shields very quickly. But this gun and all of its abilities aren't just great in PvE. Thorn is now one of the most effective weapons to use in PvP. Before the patch, Thorn's Mark of the Devourer ability dealt about 3 damage per tick against players in the Crucible. That damage output has been increased to 7 damage per tick, and when mixed with Thorn's already high impact, as well as the potential damage boost from Final Round, and you will be dropping people all over the place. A fully maxed out Thorn utilizing Mark of the Devourer can drop enemy players in 2 headshots. And if you've got the weapon set up to maximize impact and range, you can drop other players in 3 body shots with the addition of the Mark of the Devourer damage output. This can lead to all kinds of tactics for strategic play. You can literally jump in and out of cover, pop 2 to 3 shots into the enemy, and then just head right around a corner and let the Mark of the Devourer do the rest of the work for you. Since there's no way to avoid or get rid of the dot effect other than waiting it out, it gives you the opportunity to put some unique pressure on enemies. Now, beyond all of the great things that Thorn has going for it, the weapon still does have a few issues. Having only 9 rounds per mag, while much better than Thorn's original 6, is still a little bit on the small side when compared to guns like Fatebringer, although I believe that's kind of balanced out by the final round perk, since that gives you an incentive to actually empty your clip. Additionally, Thorn still has some pretty noticeable recoil, and despite the buff, the reload speed is still fairly slow. But honestly, none of that detracts from the fact that Thorn in its current state is easily one of the best weapons in the game. This thing is a monster in both PvP and PvE, and I would definitely recommend it to any of you Guardians out there who are looking for an exotic hand cannon. But alright, that about wraps up this analysis video, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and now that the Dark Below has brought us a ton of new legendary and exotic weapons and armor pieces, I'm thinking we're going to have a ton more analysis videos on the way. Anyways, it's going to be it for this one, guys. If you guys like what you saw here, feel free to check out my channel. We'll have a ton more Destiny videos coming out soon. Well, alright, that's it for me now. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians stay frosty. Something awesome